Is your camera ready, Bonnet?
Are you hearing us? Seeing us?
Right, so Bonnet is looking nice and smart, or am I look? Yes, I'm looking at Bonnet. Where is Seaside? There we go, and Seaside is, but I'm seeing Seaside on two cameras. Okay, so we're going to ask everyone except the presenting team or presenting judge to mute their device, please and thanks. Your match today will be judged by myself and Miss Julia Vaz. Miss Julia Vaz will therefore be the speaker, since I must also present. The match's director is also in the room, Mr. Kevin Grant, and so he has confirmed that both teams are present and ready to debate. The coin toss was done. Yes, it was. And I believe, I should go on cam. And I believe that the coin toss resulted in, you want to jump in here and tell us what was the result of the coin toss, Mr. Grant?
Sure. So Seaside primary.
Well, we didn't hear all of what Mr. Grant had to say, but I believe he said that Seaside primary should be proposing the moot.
That is correct.
Yes, and that Bonnet primary and infant will be opposing the moot. And of course, our moot today, this house would create state-monitored family zones on public transportation and at designated public sites to protect children from early exposure to violent and pornographic content. So it's a moot, I must tell you, it's a moot that the Alliance, well, Parents Alliance really treasures. I should pin myself. It's a moot that Parents Alliance really truly treasures, and we hope that the debate here today will spark some conversation and probably send some type of message that it ought to be the direction that everybody tries to go into. The speakers, can we have some introductions, please? First from the proponents being Seaside Primary, I believe you had said, Mr. Grant?
Right, that's correct.
First speaker proposing your name and a little bit about you, and then the second and the third speaker. We really need to get going. Seaside Primary names, please. First speaker.
Introduce yourself.
Donnie Jones.
Your time to class.
I'm Danny Wilson. I'm the second speaker.
I'm actually I'm the third speaker.
Okay, we're going to ask you to mute your device unless you're speaking. Can you go again, please, Seaside? Your first speaker, your whip, and your third speaker.
I'm Danny Wilson, the second speaker.
I'm Akila Williamson, the third speaker.
I think we got Daniel Williams and Akila Williamson. I don't know whether I'm correct. I didn't hear the name of the first speaker though.
I'm Danny Jones, the first speaker. I'm Danny Wilson, the second speaker.
I'm Akila Williamson.
Wilson, not Williams. Okay. Thank you very much, Seaside. Can we hear from Bonnet and Seaside? When you're debating, please keep the camera steady and ensure that the person speaking is the person sitting in front of the device so that we can hear and see clearly. Bonnet, primary and infant, your time, your first speaker. Name, a little bit about you, and then move on to the other speakers, please.
First, let me say good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zulima Fraser, and I am from the Bonnet Primary and Infant School. I am in grade 6, and I will be the first speaker for today.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ateja Francis, and I am from Bonnet Primary and Infant School, and I am in grade 5, and I will be the second speaker for today.
Good afternoon. My name is Amir Burke, and I'm from the Bonnet Primary and Infant School, and I will be the rebuttal speaker for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bonnet. Thank you very much, Seaside. A comment from our speaker whilst the first speakers prepare. Of course, the first speaker proposition will go first. I believe that is Miss Dominic Jones, if I'm correct, of Seaside. You will get 3 minutes to present. The second speaker will also get 3 minutes to present. We'll then go to the whips. And of course, we'll have our summary and rebuttal. I hope that the teams are ready. I know that this young lady looks very much ready. Do you want to bid our teams well, Miss Vaz? Sorry, you're muted. You're muted at the moment, so we'll ask you to unmute. Oh dear. Let's try to. You're muted at the moment, Ms. Vaz. So we're going to ask you to unmute and do that.
My apologies. I just wanted to say that it was such a pleasure to hear everyone introduce yourself, and I cannot wait for this debate. I just want to wish each and every one of you good luck. I know that you will all do very well. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, both teams are in the top 5 or on the top 5 of the league, the leaderboard. So this should really be an exciting match. We're running to the first speaker proposing from Seaside Primary School. Your first 3 minutes begins.
Adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen, my most respected opponents, boys and girls, good afternoon. I am Danae Jones. I stand before you today to support the moot. This House would like to create state-monitored family zones on public transportation at designated public sites to protect children from early exposure to violent and pornographic content. Before I delve into my argument, I would like to define the key terms in this moot. State, family zone, public transportation, public sites, children, violent, and pornographic. State, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is a centralized political organization that regulates law and society within territory. Family zone is a designated space or area that caters specifically to the needs and interests of families, making them suitable and comfortable for family members of all ages. According to the Collins Dictionary, children is the plural form of the noun child, which means son or daughter, offspring. The same source defined violence as acting with or characterized by uncontrolled strong force. Public transportation is defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary as a system of transport for passengers by group travel systems available for use by general public. Pornographic, as defined by the Oxford language, is showing or describing naked people or sex in a very open and direct way in order to cause sexual excitement. We are here today to discuss an issue of profound importance: the protection of children from harmful content in our public spaces. The motion we are debating is whether to establish state monitored family zones on public transportation at designated public sites. We, the proposition, firmly believe that this measure is essential for safeguarding the mental and emotional well being of our children. First and foremost, let's address the need for such zones. Media sexuality. Is this secondly a control where children actually these zones will be clearly marked and monitored by state authorities, ensuring that the content within these areas is suitable for all ages. This initiative not only protects children, but also reassures parents and caregivers that their children are in a safe environment when using public transport or visiting public sites. The establishment of state monitored family zones is a proactive and necessary step towards creating a safer and more supportive environment for our children. It is our duty to ensure that public spaces are welcoming and safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, First Speaker Seaside. First Speaker Seaside, the very first point you made, I don't think we'll allow it to go against you. But could you just repeat for us the very first point you made when you started listing those values that are so relevant for public transportation or the public space? It was about 2 minutes into your speech when you began to tell us the factors or the items that would make it relevant to support. For the benefit of the judges and your opponents, because you broke up when that point was being raised.
First and foremost, let's address the need for such zones. Children are impressionable and highly susceptible to external influences. Exposure to violent or pornographic content can have lasting negative effects on their psychological development and behavior.
Thank you very much.
American Academy of Pediatrics.
Thank you very much. Unless Ms. Vaz, did you capture all of the presentation? Did you miss anything?
I did miss some things, but you clarified that. You saw where I raised my hand and she gave us the point. So I'm now up to speed. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you very much, First Speaker Seaside. Ms. Jones, First Speaker Bonnet, Ms. Fraser, it's your turn, ma'am. Your 3 minutes begins now.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges.
Please, I'm sorry for interjecting. Could you center yourself in the camera, please? Yes, just swap with the next speaker, maybe. Yes, perfect. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and fellow debaters, today we stand against the idea of creating safe, monitored family zones on public transportation and the designated public sites. But first, let's define what these terms mean. State-monitored family zones refers to specific areas in public transportation and designated public sites that are under government supervision to ensure children are not exposed to inappropriate content. Public transportation with buses, taxis, and other vehicles used by the public to get around. Designated public sites are public places like parks, beaches, and shopping malls. Violent and pornographic content refers to images, videos, or behaviors that show extreme violence or sexual act. Now, let's consider the practicality of implementing such zones. Setting up and maintaining these zones would require significant resources. In Jamaica, where there are already issues with limited funds for public services, adding these responsibilities could strain the budget even more. Instead of spending money on monitoring these zones, it could be better to improve our schools, hospitals, and community programs. For example, imagine a typical JUTC bus. If we designate a part of it as a family zone, we would need extra staff to monitor it and ensure that no inappropriate content is shown. This is neither practical nor cost effective. Additionally, how would we ensure that people actually stay within these zones? It could create more confusions and conflict. Furthermore, enforcing these zones might not effectively protect children from harmful content. Children are curious and resourceful. They can easily access inappropriate content through their smartphones or on the internet, which are not limited to specific zones. Instead, education is a more effective tool. By teaching children and their parents about digital safety and responsible media consumption, we empower them to make better choices on their own. To conclude, state-monitored family zones on public transportation and designated public sites are impractical and potentially ineffective. Our focus should be on education and improving existing public services rather than creating new complex regulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fraser, the first speaker there from the opposers of the moot, Bonnet Primary. We're going straight into, assuming the judges, the other judges ready. Ms. Vaz, are you ready? Our third judge wants to join the debate, but we're not going to allow it because we think we've already judged the first speakers. So we'll continue with just the two judges. I can assure you have two esteemed judges, so you can dismiss the third judge need for now. Ms. Vaz, are we ready to move on to the second round?
Yes, we are.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Second speaker from Seaside Primary. Now I'm seeing two devices for Seaside. I hope I'm selecting the correct device when I replace Is the right speaker front and center? Seaside Primary. Miss Francis, your second speaker begins now. Your 3 minutes. I hope we've got the right camera fixed on Seaside. Please tell us if that is if it's not the correct camera. Well, it is.
Ladies
Go
and
ahead.
gentlemen, judges. Ladies and gentlemen, judges and esteemed colleagues. The state has a fundamental responsibility to protect its citizens, particularly its most vulnerable members. By creating family zones, we are upholding the duty and setting an example for a more child-friendly society. This measure is akin to exist regulations that protect children from harmful substances such as alcohol and tobacco, extending, extending similar safeguards to protect against exposure to inappropriate content. Let's consider the practicality of implementing family zones. Public transportation systems and public sites are already equipped with various forms like security cameras to stop oversight. Integrating family zones into these existing framework is not only feasible but also efficient. We can use signage, designating seating, and clear guidelines to demarcate these zones, making it easy for families to identify and use them. Monitoring content in these areas can be achieved through existing surveillance systems, ensuring compliance without significant additional cost. My opponents, please don't talk about leaving this to family because it takes a village to raise a child. A survey conducted in December 8, 2018 has revealed that the public is extremely concerned about the extent to children which Jamaican children are now exposed to a range of serious online dangers. It was reported that 87% of respondents said that their greatest concern was about their children. My opponents, the state must intervene and offer assistance. The establishment of family zones can lead to a more inclusive and respectful public environment. By creating spaces where families feel safe and children are protected from inappropriate content, we are promoting a culture of respect and consideration in our public spaces. This measure can set a positive example, encouraging all citizens to be mindful of the presence of children and the impact of their actions and content on young minds. Family zones can serve as a tool for public education and awareness. The extent of these zones highlight the importance of protecting children from harmful content and can spark conversations from media consumption and public behavior. It also can encourage parents to be more proactive in monitoring the content their children are exposed to, both in public and at home. The creation of state monitoring family zones is not practical but also beneficial for society. It fosters a safer and more inclusive public environment, promotes awareness of the impact of content on children, and supports families in their effort to protect children.
Thank you. Just in time, second speaker there from Seaside, Miss Wilson. I got it right this time, I'm sure. Thank you very much for that contribution. Your time now, Miss Francis. That's the second speaker from Bonnet Primary and Infant School. Bonnet Primary and Infant School, of course, today opposing the move.
Thank you, first speaker. I agree that family zones might not be the best idea. Creating these areas could divide our communities and make families and kids feel like they need to be separated from everyone else. These could make kids feel different or like they need special treatment, which isn't good for their growth. Also, it would be hard to make sure these areas are respected. Take Emancipation Park in Kingston, for example. If we designate a part of the park as a family zone, it would be hard to monitor and control what happens there. Instead of creating these zones, we should encourage our communities to look out for each other and protect our children. We already have strong values in Jamaica about taking care of our kids, and we should build on that. In summary, family zones could cause problems and might not even work. We should focus on building a sense of community and responsibility to keep our kids safe. I rest my case.
Thank you very much. Second speaker, Bonnet, Primary and Infant, Miss Francis. We're going to quickly tally those whilst you get your questions ready for the whip round. Seaside Primary, who is your whip today?
Please, sir.
Well, let's ready up let's ready up Bonnet. Bonnet, I presume your team is ready to face Seaside's whip.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Seaside. Your first 4 minutes begins now, Seaside.
Question or rebuttal? Which one?
It's the whip round, ma'am.
How will you plan to address the challenge of controlling content in an era where digital and personal devices are
Did you hear the question, Bonnet? How do you propose controlling content in an era where digital devices makes it so accessible? I believe You're muted, Bonnet. You're muted, Bonnet, and we really will need to take this waiting time out of your time. You're holding up the Seaside's 4 minutes.
You know what this answer is?
Any of Bonnet speakers? Oh, well, we're still not hearing. You're muted if that's what you're wondering about. But the question was, well, okay. You're not taking the question? Are you still having, oh, you're having an issue with the device?
We're not on mute. Are you
Yes,
hearing
but
us?
yes, I'm here. We're hearing, man, but we didn't hear an answer to the question.
They responded to you the first time. They said that they did not hear the question clearly.
Oh, well, shall we restart the round so that there is no bias? So Seaside, go again. Your first 4 minutes of questions begins now. Where that time is messed with, it will come out of the other team's 4 minutes. So don't worry about that. But go ahead with your question.
How will you plan to address the challenge of controlling content in an era where digital and personal devices are?
Teach children and adults
About safe and responsible idea consumption.
We really wish you'd answer based on your knowledge. So you want to feel this there, your next question, Seaside, or do you have a follow-up? Do you have a comment, Bonnet?
How would family zones cause problems?
That's a simpler question, Bonnet. How would family zones cause problems? Which speaker is taking the question? Please unmute your microphone. We need to hear everything. In this round, please keep the microphones open at all times. Both teams, don't mute your microphones in the whip round. Please unmute the microphones. Both microphones should be unmuted. We want to hear if teachers are saying anything in the background, to be blunt. Please unmute your microphone, Seaside. Thank you. Go ahead with that answer. How would it be a problem, Seaside? I mean, Bonnet, my apologies.
it will limit your access to new friends.
What? What you say? What did you say? Repeat.
It will
Repeat.
It will access to new friends.
Repeat.
Repeat.
It will limit
new
friends.
Will limit your-
She said that it will limit access to new friends, if I may assist.
Yes.
What is Explain, please, because the question was, how would family zones cause problems?
Remember that this will eat into your time, Bonnet. Do you want to pass the question? You can't just sit in silence. Bonnet, talk us through your deliberation, please. Let us hear what you're thinking.
You can say, right?
And your conversation is between yourselves, not between yourselves and your teacher.
because others might not respect the family zones.
Hello.
Seaside, did you hear that response? The response was that others might not respect the family zone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. How won't the family zones work if they're monitored by state authorities?
We don't.
We'll have to wrap up the 4 minutes there. Bonnet, we'll only give you 3 minutes in your question and answer round because of the time you would have caused the waste where Seaside would have been waiting for some time. Your 3 minutes begins now. Who is the whip from Bonnet? Bonnet, who is your whip? Bonnet Primary, who is your whip?
What?
This way.
Bonnet Primary, who is asking the question?
Me. Won't monitored families cost a lot of money.
What she say? Repeat, please. You're glitching.
Won't loans cost a lot of money.
You're glitching. Can't hear you.
Won't having monitored families loans cost a lot of money.
It's the state's responsibility. Because the state is responsible for citizens. Who's gonna say the conference can do it?
If you're speaking to us, Bonnet, we can't hear you. And if you're speaking, you really should be speaking to us. This is a debate competition. You shouldn't be speaking to your teacher. We can tell from your eyes that you're looking at your teacher. Can you speak to us, please, and throw your questions at Seaside? You're one of our better teams. Think about the mood carefully and challenge your proposals or the proponents.
So isn't the contract money? So isn't the contract with money?
You're glitching. Can't hear you.
Can you please repeat?
Please repeat.
So a problem with money?
I think the speaker is asking if you don't have a problem with all that money.
If what? As we stated, it's the state's problem.
Yes.
Bonnet, we realize you're really trying to talk, but you're having some connectivity issues. I don't know whether you want to try to say that again. I'll definitely give the extension in time. So return with that comment again, please, ma'am.
We're internet now.
What's going on?
Bonnet, recall it's your round. You're to be asking the questions.
Are you hearing me?
All right, we really have to wrap up the Q&A round there. Can we have the summary, please? Yes, were you going to say something, miss?
Talking for the longest while, sir. Weren't you hearing me?
No, we weren't hearing anything, miss.
You weren't hearing them? I don't know.
No, and I don't think Seaside would have been hearing them either.
But we said nothing talking, so I heard them.
Well, we'll give them another 2 minutes. Go ahead, Bonnet.
Won't monitoring these zones cause us to miss out on meeting new people or hearing different ideas?
Workers will be doing that. Workers.
No, she said if it won't allow them to miss out on things.
The question was, won't these zones cause persons to miss out on new friends and get exposed to new ideas?
It won't. Because workers, paid workers will be doing that job.
But what will the workers inform them on the ideas?
What?
I think she's asking whether the workers will be telling young people about the new ideas. I think you misunderstood the first question. You want to ask that question again, Bonnet?
Won't monitoring these zones cause us to miss out on meeting new people and hearing different ideas?
No. Which us? Children us?
Don't you think this will be bad for us children?
No.
Explain why.
I agree. An explanation is necessary. A simple no doesn't cut it, Seaside.
Oh. Can I repeat the question, Mimi?
Repeat the question. What did he say?
Then how you answer no if you never hear the question, eh?
That they've been.
What did you say?
Seaside, what did you answer no to?
To the person who asked the question, so I'm asking you, what did you
I
say?
didn't answer who you answer no to. I answer what did you answer no to?
The question that
Was
the
asked.
primary asked.
What was the question?
We forgot.
I don't remember.
Okay. Did Miss remind you of what the question was?
What is
Won't monitoring these zones cause us to miss out on meeting new people or hearing new ideas?
You heard the question again.
No, we still can meet new people.
the public
Explain. Can you please explain?
workers
Explain, she said.
workers will be doing the job and they will be monitoring the
And the question doesn't have anything to do with monitoring, you know, ma'am. The question is asking whether this will limit people's opportunity to get exposed to new ideas and new types of persons.
No, because you will be interacting with other people.
But
How?
so because they're being monitored. So how would that happen?
Who just asked how will that happen? Which team was that?
Bonnet is asking the questions now, and Bonnet asks Seaside how it would happen. But we really will need to wrap up the round. It's giving us an idea of the teams that understand the move better, but we need to wrap up. You want to tackle that quickly and let us wrap up, Seaside?
Repeat what you said.
They said to answer the question. That is it before the time is up.
While you're monitoring, you could meet new people.
She said, oh.
Summaries, please, your 2 minute summary and rebuttal begins now. Seaside, who is doing the summary?
Me, sir. Esteemed judges, fellow debaters, and member of the audience, as we conclude this debate, it is essential to reflect on the compelling arguments presented in favor of establishing state-monitored family zones on public transportation and public spaces. My colleagues and I have demonstrated the necessity, feasibility, and broader societal of this proposal. First, let us revisit the core argument of family zone, the protection of children. Children are the future of our society, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure their safe and healthy development. By shielding them from violent and pornographic content in public spaces, we are safeguarding their mental and emotional well-being. The evidence is clear. Exposure to such content can have detrimental effects on children, influencing their behavior and perception of the world. Second, the practical implementation of family zones is straightforward and cost-effective. We have discussed how existing infrastructure can be adapted to create those zones, ensuring that they are easily accessible and well monitored. The cost of implementing and maintaining these zones is a small price to pay for significant benefits they offer in terms of child protection and public safety. Third, the creation of family zones fosters a more respectful and considerate public environment. By promoting awareness of the need to protect children from harmful content, we encourage all citizens to be mindful of their actions and the impact of the content they consume and share in public spaces. This initiative is a step towards a more inclusive and family-friendly society. In conclusion, the establishment of state-mandated family zones is a necessary and responsible measure. It protects our children, supports families, and promotes a culture of respect and safety in our public spaces. We owe it to our children and to future generations to create an environment where they can thrive and grow without fear of exposure to harmful content. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seaside. Your 2 minute summary begins now. Bonnet Primary.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and fellow debaters, I rise to rebut the proposal for the state-monitored family zones. The proposing team argues that these zones will protect children, but they fail to consider practicality. Strained public resources can't handle additional costs. Effectiveness. Children can access inappropriate content online. 3. Social consequences. Stigmate and isolate them. They also claim it takes a village to raise a child, but their solution only segregates families. And, and contradicting this is very principle. Instead, we should focus on education, digital literacy, and community building. Let's invest in solutions that truly benefit our children and society. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, third speaker, Bonnet Primary, the rebuttal. Please give us, the judges, some time to think about it. It was a very good moot, I must tell you. And I must remind you that the moots are inspired by Wake Up Jamaica and Parents Alliance Jamaica. So the moots carry a very important social message. And we're happy that the teams were able to think about that message and able to think about just how public and private should interact, or how community and state should interact, the realms of power between the two. So I'm going to have a conversation with our judging speaker and get right back with the results. So don't go anywhere. And teams, you're on camera, so you want to remember. So please give me some time to have this discussion really quick.
Afternoon, sir. Very good theme indeed. The mood has really brought some big arguments forward.
That's Mr. Lewis. Is that Mr. Lewis?
In the flesh, sir. Where are you?
You're free to comment, sir. The principal of Seaside and the chairman of the Junior League. So we'll place you front and center.
Not for very long though, but I just want to congratulate both teams for bringing across the mood so beautifully and eloquently. The questions that were fed to both teams too showed that you understood what you were talking about, and we hope that you'll continue to think critically. I know some of you might be grade 6 students and you might have just gotten your PEP results. And I want to say congratulations to those who have successfully sat the 2024 PEP 6 exam. And I wish for you all the best at the high school level. Also to our returning students at the primary level, I hope that next year we'll see you again in CThink debate competition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis, and thank you so much. I'm seeing some of the scores coming already, so I must tell you, we're already knowing now how the results might look. Do you want to comment to speak to the teams, please, Madam Speaker? Ms. Vaz?
Okay. All right, so I just wanted to tell both schools that I found you well prepared for your argument. I found that it was well researched and that you had a grasp of the ideas and you understood what it is that you wanted to get across. I do think that there may have been a little bit of an issue with the question and the answer section. And I encourage you to remember that there is nothing wrong with speaking your mind. If you have an opinion, you should feel free to share it. And if you would like to consider it, you say, give me a little time to consider it. And if you'd like to pass, then you say, okay, I would like to pass on this question. Can we get another question? And that is going to be important strategically for you as you move into other debates. Other than that, I would like to thank you all. I thought that both teams came to try and win this debate. So I was happy about that. Thank you.
Indeed, thank you very much. And it looks like we have a tie between the first speaker and last speaker from Seaside for best speaker, but we'll announce the scores. We'll announce the scores just bluntly. So I'll make a few comments first. I also felt that the teams understood the mood. But I felt that one team had a slightly better understanding of the mood. Unfortunately, they didn't seem to sell it that well. The arguments were good arguments. I felt that Seaside could have done more in the question answer round. They were prompted, of course, to expound when they gave a one-word answer on one or two occasions. But I have to comment on the question in question because it's an important one. The question from Bonnet was whether or not persons who are within this zone will be missing out on socializing with other persons and being introduced to new ideas. And that is the whole purpose of the zone, to ensure that they don't mix with certain types of persons and are not exposed to these ideas. So the ideal answer would have been, that is the purpose of the zones. If someone cannot have a conversation in this zone, then it is not the type of conversation that a child should be involved in. is the message. But it was a brilliant debate, and we like it. I'll just go straight to the point so that we're not holding up anybody. So the average points overall, and I'm sorry, one team did better than the other, and you're always going to expect that it's a debate. I did say two speakers stood out. The third speaker, Seaside, is seen as the best speaker. And on average, just checking up here. So one team looks like it's walking away with 75 points. And the other team is walking away with 68 points. And the team walking away with 75 points is Seaside Primary. The team walking away with 68 points is Bonnet Primary and Infant. But I must say, I have to commend both teams. And based on scores, the two best speakers would have come from Seaside. That's based on the score from Ms. Val. But I really did like the third speaker, Bonnet, who also comes in even on scores. And so we've got to now decide which of these three speakers will become best speaker. I have to make that decision with another judge. So just give me a minute, please, and we'll determine who the best speaker for today's competition is. Okay, so the judges have deliberated. The speaker will make the final announcement, and then I'll make a quick comment and we'll wrap up. Again, thank you so much for joining us on this debate today.
So I just want to commend all the speakers. It really was very difficult for us to go through. There was a tie that was happening there, but we believe it would be best to go with the third speaker of the C side, and our reasoning behind that is that there was that position is probably the hardest position to do in a debate, and we believe that in holding that position, you did very well. So we have to give that one to you.
So congratulations, third speaker Seaside, well done. And I must also congratulate the third speaker from Bonnet. Third speaker from Bonnet. I must tell you, you've impressed us on your other previous debates because you just jumped to the talking and you speak well and clearly, so we know why I mischoosen you for third speaker. I wish you'll be bold next time. So we have to give you a special presenters award for today's debate. And we've decided to do that when the league meets again in July on either the 5th, 8th, or 9th. Your teachers will tell you. So thank you very, very much for joining us for today's debate again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Teachers, you want to make your final comments and then we'll end the meeting. Any comments from the teachers?
You hear me?
Yes.
You didn't say the name of the speaker. You just said third speaker.
Oh, my apologies. The third speaker is Akeelia Williams. Akeelia Williams. Akeelia Williams, you're our best speaker today, and our presenter award, a special best presenter award, will go to Amir Burke. That's the third speaker from Bonnet. Teachers, your comments, please. Do you want to go first, Miss Donna?
Yes, please. Thank you. Let me say good afternoon, everybody. I want to applaud Seaside Primary for their win. Well done. Congrats. And I just want to say thank you very much for having us. The practice was good. The practice and exposure is good. So I want to say thank you. And we're coming back for a better one next time.
Yes, man. I think you win the next debate. and the question and answer round, once they're up to par. You'll be perfect. Thank you very much, Miss. And thank you very much, Miss Downer. You've been very, very patient with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Your turn, Seaside.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to congratulate both teams. You have done well. You have handled yourself well. I want to thank you for having us as well. And I just want to encourage you to continue to give our children a voice. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Malcolm McKenzie. And I want to thank the two teams. Listen, thank you so much, young people. You've really impressed us today. And your teachers would have helped you with the speeches, but thank you so much. So congratulations. We look forward to excellent debates to wrap up the season. And of course, remember that we meet at the Bob Marley Museum at a date to be announced very soon for our finale and some wonderful matches. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you, the speaker today, Ms. Julia Vaz, for adjudicating this match. Thank you.